Hello, my friend, and welcome back. Today, let's talk about accepting help. So, in life, we aren't here to go through life alone. If you even talk about our human instincts, humans have humans are what do they call that? A pack animal. They very much thrive in communities, and that is why our society has evolved to what it is today, to have cities and neighborhoods and everything like that, because that is in the human nature, to want to be around other humans and to want to join together with other humans. And now the reason for that is because we weren't meant to go through this life alone. We weren't meant to move through life as a solo journey. We were very much meant to move through life with others and as a collective. And the reason why, because humans are essentially animals, the reason why animals like to be together and like to be in a pack or in a community is because, you know, team. Together, everyone achieves more. So you can even go into basic safety instincts. They're safety in numbers. It's easier to hunt, it's easier to gather, it's easier to pretty much do everything when you are in a community and you are a part of something. You are a part of a neighborhood or a community or a pack. So, to go along with that, to go along with our nature, is the idea of having help. They have that saying that to raise a child, it takes a village. And that is true. No one is meant to raise a child on their own. It is much easier and it is necessary to have a village. And now the sad reality is obviously not everyone has that. There are definitely circumstances where not everyone is gifted with that. And therefore it is harder and it is a struggle. But let's not forget that other humans are not the only community that we can have. And help can come from many different ways, not just this physical reality. And yes, it is very healthy for us to satisfy that need for community, because it is a need, it's not a desire. And more health studies are coming to show just how healthy being a part of a community really is, and just, how healing friendship and laughter and the idea of being a part of something, just how healthy that is. So, the divine has provided us with an entire team. You can call them your guides, you can call it your higher self, your intuition, angels, fairies, whatever, however you would like to label it, whatever resonates with you. But never forget that you have a divine team, and you have a very specific divine team. You have a divine team that is here just to help you. A team that knows you, that understands you, that really knows what your true heart's desire is, and that knows exactly what your soul came here to do and to help you execute that. And a lot of things that you might not view as help really is help, because sometimes we need to learn a lesson, and sometimes that lesson comes through pain, or it comes through something that might be difficult to go through, like essentially pain. And you may think like, well, that's not helpful. But if your goal was that growth, or your goal was that lesson, and that situation helped you to learn that lesson, then it is helpful. Then that was help. And you know, our human minds get very much tied into physical pain and, you know, grief, and we get very tied into emotions and everything like that. But you know, supposedly this reality is a simulation, including everything that you're going through, including all of the pain and including everything like that. So when you look at this life as something that is essentially not real, then that really puts that pain into perspective. And if you look at hard times or painful times, if you look at it as, because we understand time, well, we don't understand time, but we very much define things through time. So if you were to look at that time, those times in your life that were hard, if you were to, you know, quantify that and put that on a timeline, and you were to compare that to forever, that time of pain is really not that long. Very much probably not even a blip on the eternal timeline. And then if you compare that also to the growth and the lessons that you learn, the evolution, I don't know the word, the how much you were able to evolve from that situation, and if you were to compare that to the timeline and to the amount of pain that you felt and then the growth that happened, you would probably see that that growth was exponentially better and worth it for the pain. So keep that in mind as you're going through things, and as things happen, you know, don't forget that you don't have that aerial view. You know, you have that very much blinders on perspective, but your team, your guidance, your help has the aerial view. This way they are able to put things in place to help you on the journey that you are on in this life. And now one of the biggest things about this is, so if you were never aware of your guides, if you were never aware of the divine help, that doesn't mean it's not there. It's always there. And they're always helping you and putting things in your path. However, if you start to bring your awareness to the fact that you have this help, and you do two things, you ask and you consent. Consent is huge in the energy world. That is why in the physical world, it feels so violating when something happens without our consent. It's because we are energy, and in the energy world, consent is paramount. So you have to ask your guidance and give them consent to help you. I ask every day that my guides help guide me in every single aspect of my life, of my daily life, to help me move forward as the person that I want to be, to help continue on this journey with ease and grace, and help to steer me into the direction of my true heart's desire. I ask this every day, and I give consent for them to show me signs, for them to speak to me, communicate with me. I am listening every day. Every day I ask this, because we have free will as humans. We don't have to do anything, and we don't have to listen to our intuition. We don't have to listen to our guides. We can do whatever we want. And that is why we must ask and give consent, because the divine respects our free will so much, because the divine views us as equals. The divine is not looking down on us as something less than them. The divine looks at us as eternal spiritual beings that chose to have this human experience to learn and to grow and to evolve. Therefore, the divine respects the soul's wishes. So if the soul wanted to come into this lifetime and to never awaken and to have that journey as an unawakened person, as someone who is unaware of their connection to everything, as someone who is unaware of the divine and the guidance that they have, then the divine respects that. The divine says, yes, have that experience. Go do that. And I will be here when you ask. I will be here when it's done. I will be here. And the divine can't help but, just be there with us and to watch us and to sometimes catch us when we fall, because the divine just loves us so, so much. But it will not interfere with our free will. Therefore, if you're getting an intuitive message, you have the choice not to follow it. Intuition comes immediately because there is no time. Intuition is always there and right on the mark. So therefore, sometimes, like when you're thinking about something or whatnot and it happens right away, or you're thinking about something and you think you see a sign, but you're like, oh, I just thought that. Could it be that, like, the answer is coming right away, or I'm getting a sign right away? Yes. It's because the divine, the higher self, is always there, always listening. So it's not like, and there is no distance in the energy world. Distance and time are very much human constructs. So it's not like when you ask your guides, they are halfway across the world and then they have to hear you and then they have to come. Like, no, they're always right here and they're always listening, because that is what they are here for. They are here to help us in our human experience, and they want you to reach out to them and to connect with them and to do the work so you can hear them. Now, the other big thing besides consent and asking is it's always a whisper. So we live in a very dense 3D reality. That's why I'm like here and I can't knock through my head. The camera is physically here. However, the divine and our guides are vibrating at a much higher frequency. Therefore, their energy is much lighter. Therefore, yes, they can do things in our physical world, but not too often. It's very much when they speak to us, when they send us signs, when they send us coincidences, things like that, it is quiet. It's a whisper. And because we are in 3D bodies with this mind, with this society, it's very easy for our thinking mind and our ego and for our society to drown out your intuition. It's just like, how could you hear someone whispering when you're at a loud concert? You just can't. So that's why it is very important to do the inner work of releasing beliefs that don't serve you, releasing fears that don't serve you, processing trauma and emotion that comes up. All of that can really add like the static. It can add the loud music at the concert and you cannot hear. So as you start to work through that, you will notice that you're able to tune into your intuition even more. So the combination of asking and then doing the work to clear that static, to clear the noise so you can hear that whisper, that is how you can truly communicate with your guides, and that you can really reap the benefits of their guidance. And things work in like tricky ways sometimes, and we don't always understand it, and it does take a little while, especially like if you're starting to see repeating numbers or like a feather when you're thinking about something and you're like, well, it's just a feather, like it could be from anywhere. But let's not forget that there are no coincidences, because everything is divinely planned, everything is divinely coherent. So start to tune in. This is something I'm working on every single day, tuning in. letting your guides know, like, I'm listening, I'm asking for help, and I am listening, and I am here, and please guide me, and please help me. That is when the divine will really start to step into your life. And that is when you will see the magic. You will feel the magic. And you will start to have that faith and that joy and understanding that you always have help. And it might not come in the way that you want it at that time, but it will always come. The divine is always listening, and it's never a no. Okay? It might not be not this thing, not this time, not this way, but they're never going to leave you stranded. They're not going to be like, well, you got yourself into this one. Because remember, also, the divine has no judgment. So you may think like, well, I ignored them, and, maybe they don't want to help me because I'm not a good person, or I don't deserve their help. Forget all of that. They don't think that. They don't think that. Ever, ever, ever. They just want you to know that you're loved, and they are always with you, and they are always here to help you. And no matter what you do, say, or think, in their eyes, you are perfect, and you are worthy, and they just love you so much. They love you the way newborn parents love their new baby. It's just that unconditional in awe. They are in awe of you. And never forget that. Don't let that go to your head, but don't let that affect your worthiness of wanting to ask for help, or thinking that you don't deserve the help, or they also don't have patience. And I don't mean that in that they are impatient. Patience is just not a thing for them. They can't not have it or have it. They just are, and there is no limit. We would describe it as there is no limit to their patience. However, they would say that patience is just not something that they have or don't have. I don't know. I can't explain it any better. But that is our message for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know that I definitely want to heed this message and incorporate it into every aspect of my life, because tuning into my intuition has been the best thing that I have ever done. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got some value from it. My name is Anne, and I'll see you next time, my friend.